Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. And it's time to talk about the Dark Side of the Ring. It's season 5, episode 2, The Buff and the Bagwells. I'm here with my wrestling cohorts, Ginger Greek. How you doing?
All good, baby. We're talking buff the stuff.
You damn right. And wrestling enthusiast and future WWE Hall of Famer Gaz. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Very, very good. So I felt this episode was kind of back to service resumed regarding what Dark Side of the Ring kind of should be to a degree. It was a decent episode about a very familiar wrestler in Marcus Alexander Bagwell. That is his real name, actually, no gimmick at all. Um, I did enjoy it. Before we start talking about some of the elements of this episode, what did you think of it, Ginger?
Oh, I loved it. This was a great episode. Like you guys said, it was a return to form for them because it was Dark Side of the Ring, and it was a real eye opener as well on Buff's life prior to wrestling, and during the whole time in WCW, it was a real punch in the nostalgia for me, and really just brought back all these fantastic memories. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, as tragic as it ended up being.
Yeah, I would say there was some funny moments in it, and obviously had the tragedy in it. But yeah, it was a mixed bag, that's for sure. Gaz, what do you think?
It was a really sad episode because, I knew Marcus Buff Bagwell before the whole Buff Bagwell persona. I knew him when he was Marcus Alexander Bagwell, when he used to time with a team we're going to talk about later with Two Called Scorpio. Because what a fucking team that was. An underrated team.
That's where I got to know about him, and then they just kind of buried that team. It just went nowhere. It's like really weird.
They were champions, and all of a sudden, we'll talk about that in a minute. But
yeah, we'll talk about it later.
But yeah, it's like I know Sam, you had some issues with the fact that he shot his own father, which we'll get to in a minute. But I thought like what he's been through, that he's gone through this whole DDP yoga thing, and he's gotten clean and gotten sober and stuff like that, and he's gotten on the other side of addiction.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to all of that. But look, first of all, Marcus Bagwell, youngest of 3 brothers. His father Steve was a drag racer, not a drag queen, I may add. Brought up in a rich family. In a rich family, which is a little bit unusual for most wrestlers. Usually they are rag to riches stories. But regardless, though, even though his parents were rich and they gave him everything, including fucking cocaine, they were kind of allegedly strict parents. Now, the first crazy moment we come across in this story was that his dad loses at poker with the family, pulls out his fucking gun, goes to the barn at the back and starts shooting up all the fucking geese. What the fuck was that all about? I mean, you could tell they were a proper hick family with that shit, man, because but regardless, they even though his dad was a rich person through drag racing, they did have a lumber yard business, and eventually that business will start to fall apart, and Marcus's parents were fighting at one particular point, and this is where we get to this first crazy moment.
So before we get to the first crazy moment, I just want to talk about like the dude's upbringing was crazy, like crazy in a good way. Like the dad was fucking awesome up until that incident. The dad was like doing it the right way. We said, look, I've got, when you've got a lot of money, but yes, I'll give you stuff, but I'm not going to make you a sport brat. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to keep you in check. And, if you're going to do what you're going to do it the safe way, which is exactly how my dad brought me up, not with cocaine and things like that, which is what that dad did. But it's just, look, if you're going to do something, make sure it's safe, make sure I know all that kind of shit. And I just thought, what an awesome upbringing up to a certain point. Crazy, yes, but cool. Coke's a hell of a drug. You're goddamn right, Jose.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, like hearing the fact that he got to go to his, he got to go to school in like a brand new Corvette or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But he said that I wasn't spoiled. Like, my mom was who everybody was really afraid of. Like, she did not take any shit. Like, she was a boss of a construction yard, And if anyone ever gave a shit,
Lumberyard.
Lumberyard. And he said if they ever give a shit, they'd do it for 2 minutes and they wouldn't do it again. It's just like, fucking hell, how tough is this lady? You know what I mean?
Yeah, just hearing like about Mama Bagwell and what she was like when they were kids, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right, given what her character was like on screen. So yeah,
I find it a bit weird that they are these strict parents. Yeah, but here we go, son. Have a fucking Corvette. Here, have a bag of fucking Coke. It almost felt like a bit weird how strict they were at the same time.
It's like an oxymoron, but I get like that resonated with me because that's what my dad was like. He was like, hey, look, I don't mind what you do, except for keep it legal and let me know where you are. And he was like, yeah, his money, you know, he can give what he could. We weren't fucking rich and all that kind of stuff. But I say, if you fuck up at school, I'm gonna fuck you up kind of thing. So yeah, it reminds me a lot of that.
Before we go on to the next bit, I still can't think of a match or career accolade of his that stands out. Yeah, likewise, unfortunately.
I can think of loads.
Loads?
Yeah.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah, that's some great matches.
Anyways, so we get up to our first most amazing incidents where Bagwell's parents are having an argument and Bagwell then confronts his dad with a fucking gun and his dad can't believe it, goes to grab his gun and them two are fucking pointing pistols at each other, and then Bagwell just unloads, I think maybe a whole clip on his dad, and his dad lives. You know, he doesn't kill him. You know, like
that's
one
crazy.
bullet can kill you, but to fucking put a whole magazine in you, you know, like absolutely crazy. And then him and his dad, after 3 or 4 months there, you know, like his dad actually told him, yeah, you're right to do what you did. You know, I don't blame you for it. And him and his dad are still fucking cool after he fucking almost killed his own dad.
Well, let's
absolutely
if you put
crazy.
Sorry, Sam. If you put it into context, okay, you've got a dad that rages and goes out, takes a machine gun and fires at geese, and is like a bit of a loose cannon. At that point in time, and Buffwell and Marcus's age, you don't know what the fuck your dad's gonna do. Like he runs to the fridge and grabs a gun. So you're thinking he might actually shoot us. So Bagwell's like, I'm going to take this motherfucker out first in case he takes us. So I get why he did what he did.
But Bagwell approached his dad with a gun.
He first came to the dad because he was beating his mum and all this kind of stuff. But he had no intention of shooting him at the time. It was only afterwards when his dad got the gun. And knowing his dad's history, he was like, I'm not taking any chances. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I understand the reaction, you know, again, given their kind of upbringing.
It's amazing that he survived it, Jose said. Yeah, go on.
As I say, like, considering, like, considering you're just saying, like, he was doing coke and stuff like that, it's no wonder he was looking like that, because, like, coke makes your flaming brain go all flaming jizzy if you use flaming too much of it. And so, like, I mean, not that I know, but I know the flaming, you know, side effects. So, like, probably the guy was probably very high strung. I mean, apparently he was a bad loser from everything they were saying. And then, like, she probably said something to him that made him go nuclear, and he just, you know, he couldn't see sense. He probably just got clean. He was like, fuck, you did the right thing, you know, because that was a danger.
Yeah. Okay, well, on to the wrestling now, because Missy or Miss Hyatt is the first person who comes across Buff Bagwell and gets him trained to be a wrestler. I mean, he's got everything. He's got the looks. He's a good-looking guy. Got physique. Just needs to be trained. So he does. The guy's a natural. Within 3 months, he's already picking up everything. And next thing you know, he gets hired by WCW, and he's tagged with Dobby from Harry Potter. I mean, sorry, Too Cold Scorpio. Sorry, that's the first thing I think of every time I see him, man. You know what I mean? It's like he should. I feel like every time I see Too Cold Scorpio, I think he should be shouting, "Hey, you guys," or something like that. Anyway, not saying I would end with him, but I understand Chris Rock. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So
they glossed over that fact because he was paired with like somebody else before that, Garvin or whatever his fucking name was.
Rugged Ronnie Garvin.
I don't know. I don't know what his first name is, but it wasn't until after like the tag team tournament that he got put in with Too Cold Scorpio, I think. So he was teamed with somebody else before that, and then he went with Too Cold.
Yeah.
Anyway,
anyway, so can I just say, this is where I could name at least about 7 matches of his that were excellent.
I think the funny thing, I don't remember much of his early career of being a tag team wrestler. I just remember him being Marcus Alexander Bagwell and Paulie Dangerously, aka Paul Heyman, making fun of him all the time, calling Baggy Waggy. You know what I mean? But then again, I wasn't like religiously watching WCW then, because back then when I was young, you were just happy to get whatever you could, like 1 o'clock in the morning on ITV.
Goddamn right.
No, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I used to watch it. I used to watch him and Too Cold all the fucking time because they used to be the fucking shit.
Mate, because like Too Cold at that point in time was my favorite wrestler after Macho Man.
Oh, he was fucking fantastic.
And like Too Cold is a goat. Okay, I'm not going to go too much into Too Cold because we're going to go off on a tangent here. But it was through him that I knew about Bagwell, and I just thought, fuck me, who is this guy? He's amazing as well. And bear in mind, I'm like 12, 13 at the time, so I know about as much as anyone. But that's where I got to know him, and I thought, what a fucking awesome tag team. They reminded me of the Bulldogs, but where both of them are like luchas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, they were great. And I remember like they had a great match with the Nasty Boys.
Yes.
Did they fight the Hollywood Blondes, or was that with another team?
Yes, they did. The Hollywood Blondes, I think they fought the Steiners, they fought a lot of underneath teams. So like they had such really good matches with underneath teams. Like because Too Cold would do the 450 splash all the time as their finish. And fuck me, would he hit it just every single time. It fucking hell raises. Honestly.
Listen, mate, I could come all night with Too Cold. He was just incredible. Yeah, sorry, Zam. Crack on, mate.
Do yourself a favour and watch Too Cold and Marcus Alexander Bagwell's tag team matches. They're fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, because Bagwell needs to be buff, one of the things he wants to do is he put some calf implants in, and yeah, this guy can fuck off. This gringy, piss off.
Carry on.
Yeah, so he put some calf implants into his legs, but then he's unable to walk. So his mate, was that one of the Basham brothers? That guy?
No.
No.
What was his name again? Something Johnson, Michael Johnson, or
Mark something or other.
Yeah, but but he basically, because of the calf implants, Bagwell can't even take a piss or a shit. So he needs his mate to fucking help him to the toilet. I'm surprised he was able to. Was he not wrestling? I have no idea that particular period. Anyway,
I don't know. Yeah,
he was taking time off to let it heal, basically.
Yeah.
Well, his period as a tag team wrestler continues, and he ends up with Scotty Riggs as American Males. We're American Males, you know.
One of the easiest tag teams of all time.
Yeah,
and during this period, Marcus Bagwell got married, and then he married again, so he's on his third wife. And then whilst he's doing his thing with Scotty Riggs, he has an opportunity to join the new world order.
Just before we go into that bit, this part I remember I got really pissed off with WCW's booking here because American Males were fucking jobbed out a lot during this period of time. And I was just like, what's the fucking... They were really over, and they were just getting jobbed out. It's like just that kind of bad Bishop booking that pissed me off.
They're really good. They're really good tag team. They look like $1 million. The work was pretty decent. I don't got why they were jumped out. I mean, if one I understand it, but
I don't know what it is. But when it came to pretty boy tag teams, they seem to always get jobbed out to a degree, or never really succeed. And that was no different. We saw that with the Rockers, who never won a fucking title, a tag team title, and shit like that. You know, and well, they kind of won it, but then they didn't, you know, because it was off air and all of that. But that's for another day. So Bagwell, he ends up joining the NWO by stabbing Riggs in the back, and then from Marcus Alexander Bagwell, he finally becomes his final form, Buff Bagwell.
The stuff. Yeah. Term I still use to this day. Love it.
Now we have a what the fuck moment.
Sorry, Zam. Just yes, he did. Bischoff he sucked with tag teams. Like he was just terrible.
Bischoff and McMahon looked like they had more in common than they realized. Yeah.
Exactly. No, they did. They really did have a lot in common.
It's funny because like tag teams are still they're homage even to this day. You know, like I just these guys they just don't get it. Anyways, regardless, we have a really one of these what the fuck moments with Bagwell's mum shaving his balls. That was
that made me laugh so hard. I'm sorry.
Great mum.
But and I can't believe they actually depicted that of like the door opening. Let's just like this. Sorry, I'll do it. Where it's literally like that.
Okay, we're gonna get demonetized. Look. There was one thing people had an issue with Hulk Hogan when Hulk Hogan like put suntan lotion on his daughter's body, and I'm thinking to myself, there's nothing wrong in that. He's his father. You know, I don't know why people making an issue of that just because he has a beautiful daughter. People making an issue of that, but this is for me way too much. You can't be shaving your fucking son's balls, man. Like apparently, he had him bend over and she grabbed his dick and balls and pulled it up right behind his ass or some shit like that, and then started shaving them.
You can get a better cut.
Mate, I'll never do that. I never did that. I always pulled mine forward when I'm shaving mine. But anyway, that's for another story. That's another day.
That was you doing it, not your mother. So there's a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God I didn't see this episode. I can only imagine the PTSD you threw. Yeah, well, his mate saw him do that. One of his wrestling friends saw him do that. And the funny thing is, like, when he saw him do that, he goes, "Hey, hi, Mark," like that. Like, yeah, my mom's just shaving my balls. How you doing? Yeah.
I'm like, that's something I really did need to see. I can picture it in my head. I don't really need someone to do it for me.
Now, during this period, obviously, because I think they were working in Florida a lot, wasn't it? Was WCW down in Florida?
Yes. Well, Atlanta mainly.
Oh, fair enough. But
Atlanta,
Georgia. Okay. Atlanta, Georgia is very was one of the places where a lot of films get made because of it's cheap to film there and shit like that.
Right.
And Bagwell at this particular point starts making lots of shit movies. I mean,
it's a video action and kind of like semi-erotic films, yeah.
I was like looking at this stuff and I'm thinking to myself, these remind me of those films that want to pretend that they are the other films. Like instead of having like Iron Man, you have Iron Guy, like that, and people are supposed to think it's Iron Man because they're not reading the case cover properly and they end up picking up a dud of a film which is a low budget movie with a similar premises, and I thought that's the sort of shit Bagwell was doing. It was terrible. Based in Atlanta, but he did go to Disney Studios for a time. Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
My God, he made some really shit movies. But unfortunately, like a lot of wrestlers, when Bagwell was in the ring, he ended up suffering. And this is funny because I've seen some injuries in the ring, and you do notice this one being a bad one, but it doesn't look as bad as it could be, but it was bad regardless. And that's what the Bagwell sustaining a life-changing injury from a mistimed bulldog by Rick Steiner, and he ends up breaking his neck, I believe.
Yeah. So
pretty much, yeah.
He thinks he's paralyzed, but what actually happens is that his head like hit his body and just basically shut off.
Yeah, went spinal shock, where the body thinks it's paralyzed because of the bruising, but he was lucky, but still had to have massive neck surgery.
I mean, these guys he's a brick shithouse, Bagwell, and you look at the size of his fucking neck as well, and they're able to imagine if that happened to us, we would have probably been dead. We would have probably lost our spine, And it kind of even goes to show in this industry that even if it's something minor, I mean, not minor, but he a millimeter here or there, and he might not have bumped into Steiner's body, and it might. It's just crazy.
Because this is the thing that people don't get. People think it's like the really crazy stuff, like through like tables and stuff like that. That fucks you up. No, it's the minor stuff because your body, because your body accumulates these injuries, that all it takes is just one wrong step and your leg's gone, or one wrong bump and your neck's fucked. It literally is.
Look at Triple H when he just lunged forward to punch, was it Kurt Angle at the time, and he just tore his whole fucking leg. Basically, it was hanging by a string. Or Pac just went to do a slide under Jericho, caught his elbow, and completely snapped his leg all the way back. It's just the smaller things that fuck people up. Simple suplexes is what ended Biggie's career. You know, back-to-back suplex.
And he had and I've noticed what the WWE have done over the years is that they have banned pretty much any wrestling move that could possibly damage your neck. Like there's moves like the vertebraker and the pile driver, you know, which they don't really do anymore. You don't really see people do neck breakers anymore, you know, and stuff like that. You know, I mean, most of the moves like they do like power bomb moves, which are more on the back, where because the back obviously could take more of an impact than the neck can. Yeah. I mean, at least with the quad though, it's your leg. If it's your, I'd rather have my leg injured than my neck. That's for sure. So as Bagwell heals up, and I mean heal with an EA, not an EE. He starts to turn to drugs, as wrestlers do. And this is where, and then somebody who's no longer on drugs, this is where like his personality kind of changed up a bit, because he was he's a different person, because obviously drugs is not only something that you go to ease the pain or just to make you feel good. It is who you end up being, who you are, and your life revolves around it. And that's what happened with Buff Bagwell. Yeah,
because his third wife was like, you know, I was trying to talk to him, saying, "Look, I need you. Look, I hate the person you become." And even he himself said that I wasn't listening. You know, I became a different person, and I like both of his ex-wives said that he became somebody that I didn't know anymore, and that was really hard to hear. To be honest with you, it's somebody you love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well. Whilst he's healing up, he brings his mother in and she has a little short run. I didn't know any about this. I had no idea about his mum being in WCW. Do you guys remember this shit? Yeah, this was over my head.
There's a
very it was great, but they overdid it.
I mean, the very infamous one is Judy Bagwell on a forklift match.
Yeah,
that Vince Russo literally involved.
That sounds like Vince Russo all over, man.
No, that literally happened. There's actually
no, I believe I saw it. I saw a clip of it on the document. But the point is that's Vince Russo in a nutshell, isn't it?
I mean, the thing is with Buff or Marcus or what you want to call him, is that he was a good hand as a single, but I think he's more tailored for tag team stuff, because his tag team work was really good. I just think that he needed that other person to bounce off. Whereas a single, he doesn't have that other person to bounce off. And they're kind of like, he was, I don't say he's limited as a singles wrestler, he wasn't, but he was better as a tag team wrestler. And some guys are just that. Some
guys just thrive better in a tag team.
Yeah, like Jim Neidhart and people like that. I liked some of his single stuff with it. I like that top hat he wore. I thought that worked well for his gimmick. Anyways, by this time, I mean, this was obviously during the Attitude Era, which is probably why I missed out. But eventually, WWE ends up buying WCW, and Bagwell has a little confrontation with Shane Helms when they're in the training ring. And this is something I didn't know about. I'm not sure if you guys knew, so apparently, Helms gets the infamous, which I had no idea about, Bagwell slap. And then Helms then retaliates by hitting Buff with a ice bottle at the back of his head, making him bleed everywhere. Now, I believe that same day, Bagwell had to fight Booker T. So he had his head stapled, and then he used markers and stuff to cover up all the scarring and stapling. And I've seen this match, by the way, and I think it's the most blown out of proportion shit match I've ever known, because it's a bog standard Monday Night Raw fucking match. You know what I mean? There's nothing special about it and nothing crap about it. Bog standard.
But you got to remember that, like, for that WWE fans have been told for 20 odd years or how long it's been that WCW was trying to put them out of business. So now you've got two guys who literally are fighting for the WCW Heavyweight Championship. Of course, they're going to crap all over it. And unfortunately, because Buff wasn't the champion, he's the one who unfortunately got the fucking raw end of the deal.
I never understood this because Buff Bagwell is 31 years old. He's got years left in the tank to offer his services to the WWE. He's already a veteran at 31 years old. You know, like, because he's been wrestling for 11 years, and you throw this guy to the side when you got a good 20, you could get a good 20 years out of him. Like, what the fuck?
They were just cleaning house, and he just kept who he wanted and got rid of. Like, he got rid of a lot. Like, Sting was right to stay away at the time because he saw what happening to like Diamond Dallas Page and all these other people.
Oh, what they did to DDP was criminal.
Oh, it was criminal, absolutely criminal. This is when once they did what they did, like they botched the invasion angle. That was I was over with WWE and up until the Punk stuff because it was just inexcusable what he did. He had such a great plethora of talent, and he just destroyed them all. So, you know, and Bagwell, one of the things I don't touch on there was that he had disciplinary issues as well behind the scenes. And, you know, he was a bit of a pain in the ass at the time. And that this was why they were just like, yeah, we'll fucking get rid of him.
Yeah, because there is... Sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say, there is that info story. I don't know how true it is, that apparently Buff Bagwell's mum phoned up JR to say he's not coming to work.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Really?
One. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a rumor that's going around. Even JR has said it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he did get attitude, and that's actually what got him canned. But it's weird that they didn't cover it in that because he's pretty honest on a lot of things. But they didn't cover that part.
Well, Bagwell ends up going on the indies as wrestlers do, and he keeps doing drugs, and he ends up having more seizures. Now, to make money, because obviously the days of him being brought up rich and stuff are way behind him, and he's no longer a wrestler anymore, he ends up joining a show called Gigolo. And
that's so funny.
And this is where like this miscommunication sort of happened because he initially just thought he was just there to be an advisor and stuff like that, but next thing you know, he has to like fuck this lady, and he's not able to do the business.
Yes, and I've got no blood going to my cock. I was like,
yeah, so he only pretends to, and then he speaks to the boss or whatever of the show. And he told him that you weren't supposed to fuck her in the first place. So I'm all really confused. But, but regardless, because of this, he ends up joining like Hollywood Cowboys or something like that. Cowboys and Angels. Some sort of like
Cowboys for Angels or something like that. Yeah.
Cowboys for Angels. Yeah. So he ends up joining some male sex worker sites.
A male escort site, yes.
Yeah, and he's still married, by the way, to his third wife at the time. But you know, he can make like $20,000 a bag, you know. So why the hell not? But the first lady he does business with falls in love with him, and I think he kind of gets smitten by her, and that ruins his third marriage. I mean, this guy, you know, he's putting Donald Trump to shame the way he's fucking going. So we're at the tail end now of this episode, and we see this is like some sad shit. We see footage of Bagwell from his home security, like passing out in his house and falling over his chair and stuff like that. He has another car crash, and he's almost dead in this one. Like the guys had car crashes galore, and then during this particular period, he finds out his mum is dying, and then when his mum dies, he finally has his come, you know, like you can go either or come to Jesus moment, but you can go either way. You can keep going down to the pits of despair, or you can finally see the fucking light and realize, shit, I need to change my ways.
Yeah, there's like a moment of clarity. I think drunk.
Yeah. And this is probably this, like within the WWE, the Hall of Fame, and they have this thing called the Warrior Award. Well, if anybody needs the Warrior Award, it's DDP, in my opinion, because once again, who comes to the rescue when it comes to all these wrestlers who are down and out in their luck? It's Diamond Dallas Page.
Listen,
and yeah,
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Diamond Dallas Page, forget the Warrior Award because Warrior was a garbage human being. Okay, there should just be the DDP Award or just Sainthood Award because Diamond Dallas Page should be made a saint. The amount of lives that he has saved, the amount of miracles that he has performed on wrestlers, he should be anointed a saint. That's how fucking amazing he is.
Yeah, and the thing is, he does it for everyone. Like he's like, because apparently he reached out to Vader, because Vader was even in his 50s or 60s when he passed away. He was way over like 400 pounds, and when you get to that age, unfortunately, your body can't take it anymore. And
what he did for Scott Hall and Jake Roberts, most notable. Like you see the Snake, and he's in such a better place right now. And
but you DDP Awards more than the Shad Kaspard. I know that's horrible. I don't want to demean what Shad did, but I mean DDP has saved like so many lives.
And not only that, like you see Bagwell, obviously, as he's narrating his life in this whole episode, you see how much he's changed. You can see he looks a clean, sober, born again person than the guy he was as a wrestler. And not only that, he helped his old tag team partner out, Scotty Riggs, who was living in his car, and he wanted to kill himself and stuff like that. And DDP helped Bagwell and Riggs, and now Bagwell being sober, he wants to go back into the ring. Now, I have no problem with Bagwell going back into wrestling. I think he'd be a great manager, in my opinion.
100%.
Yeah, he'd be a great manager. He's got all the character for it, and he could take a bump as well, which is what you want from your managers.
And he still looks great, considering all
he
the
looks
shit
great.
He's been through.
Yeah.
How old is he? He's
54 years old, and you wouldn't think
he must be 54.
He's 54.
He looks great for 50. He looks great for 54. And in my opinion, if he wants to get back into wrestling, I think there's a place for him. Hall of Famer without a doubt. And he wants to get back in the ring. He's sober. Like he's a success story in that sense, because there's nothing better than seeing somebody coming back from the depths of despair and not, and come out of that and show the benefits of coming out of that. But he looks fucking great. He does. He looks so fucking good. You know what I mean? You can see the clean lifestyle is done for him.
I hope he does redeem himself.
Yeah. I've seen his, both of his ex-wives saying, speaking to him now, you can see that he's changed. And even his first ex-wife said that she's still in love with him. It's just like,
they still love him. Just
still friends with him. Everyone still loves the dude. They always say it was just crazy, but he has a heart of gold kind of thing, and that's kind of nice to hear as well. I mean, we know he had a massive attitude issue and all that, but look, when you're thrust into it, he was only 21 when he made his debut. That's crazy.
The guys he's like a jock, dude. He's a good-looking young man with a great physique. He's got girls for. He probably fucked so many groupies you could only imagine. He probably thinks the world shines out of his fucking ass. You're gonna
for being the way it was,
Some people have been horrible about Missy Hyatt in the comments of this, saying, "Oh, she said he's horribly." Dude, she's like in the 60s. What do you want?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Man, I loved her. She was awesome at the time. Oh, what great valet. And I remember the backstage stuff as well. Yeah.
See, not everyone could be Michelle Pfeiffer, for Christ's sake. People get old. Look at Buff Bagwell himself. I mean, when I saw him on this episode, and I think, wow, he's aged. But he's 54. Of course he's going to age. Nobody stays young forever. But most of the time I watched him, he was always a young man.
No?
Yeah, his wives look great, man. His wives still look great.
Really great.
So
they feed off of his aura of youth.
Yeah,
good for him. Now I should have pulled this up, but what is it? Do you guys know what episode 3 is?
What, the next one? No.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'm doing episode 3. I'm just quickly looking for it now.
I'm looking for it as well. Sorry.
Terry Gordy, the final fight of the Freebird.
Oh,
already
Freebirds. Yeah, Terry Gordy. Okay.
Let me quickly read you the synopsis. Already a wrestling star as a teenager. Oh, Terry Gordy's the Sandman. Terry Gordy's time with the renowned. With the renowned fabulous Freebird until he accidentally overdosed. I think he's the Sandman. So
no, he's not the Sandman.
No, sorry. I got a picture of the Sandman here. When I think of the fabulous Freebirds, I think of fucking Michael Hayes. Yeah.
Terry Gordy was one of the other ones.
Yeah, the other ones don't come in my mind. It's always fucking Michael Hayes. You know what I mean? With the all that sort of shit. Yeah, but that's great. So okay, fellas, time to mark the episode. Ginger, what are you gonna give it?
I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. It was a great episode, but they omitted a lot of things, especially like being jobbed out and his attitude and things like that. So I can only give it an 8, but it was a solid episode.
Yep, guys.
Do you know what I agree with? Did you agree? 8, because I thought it was a fantastic episode. I do agree that they should have tackled some of his attitude problems, but I thought what we got and the redemption story was really good. So, really good episode, I think.
Yeah, I'm also giving it an 8. A packed 45 minutes of what you want to pretty much. It's hard to obviously squeeze in everything, but we got all the sort of bits and pieces we wanted. We some of his early life, which was oblivious to us, his early days as a wrestler, obviously the old Gigolo stuff as well. We pretty much got it, and the redemption at the end, which made it very sweet. It was a really nice ending to what can be a very macabre series at times. So
funny episode, like legit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was one of the more funny episodes to look back at when you think of some of the episodes we've seen at the time. And 8 out of 10. I did enjoy it. This was almost back to form for Dark Side, as far as I'm concerned. So I look forward to the next one. And keep up the good work, Vice. All right, thank you very much, Ginger. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, everyone in the comments. Jose especially. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.